Are you a longtime Pokemon fan that has just been wanting some kind of battler to remind you of the good old days of Pokemon Stadium? Well, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, this is Connor from Pokémon House, here today to talk about my hopes and dreams for Pokemon Champions, and if I think it is going to be able to fill the hole in my heart that Pokemon Stadium has left. So first of all, I'll just say that I am a millennial Pokemon fan. I'm 31 years old, outing myself and my age here, but I've been a fan of the Pokemon franchise for a long time. I played Pokemon Red and Blue on the Game Boy Color when they came out. So old. Had a Nintendo 64, played Pokemon Stadium 2, have played all those games around that era, whether it's the Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube, whatever. I've been a huge Pokemon battler fan all the way through my time in this franchise. That actually transitioned to me in around the 2010 era, playing Pokemon VGC competitively. I went to a Dallas qualifier, actually qualified for nationals in that tournament, so I have been on Pokemon Showdown for hundreds of hours, have played these games so much, and battling has always been my favorite part of the Pokemon games. So, when I saw the Pokemon Champions announcement, my heart immediately filled with this joy and wonder of what could be with this game. I mean, Pokemon Stadium is something that, yeah, was a little rough around the edges. The battling was quirky, the animations were kind of funny, the announcer was always hilarious to listen to. But that game gave us something that no other game has, and that is this fully immersive, battle-centered game. And so I want to look at today, is Pokemon Champions actually going to be able to live up to that hype for fans like me who have been, these kind of battler fans that have been a part of the franchise for a long time? Can Pokemon Champions actually fill that hole? If you like this video today, and if you feel the same way as I do, make sure and like and subscribe. We are just starting out this channel brand new. We're going to be making a lot of Pokemon coverage about Pokemon Champions, Pokemon Legends ZA, everything in between, so make sure and stick around for that. So, the number one reason why I think Pokemon Champions may not fill that hole exactly is because it is just battling. Now, this may sound counterintuitive to what I've just said, because this is a battling game, and that is kind of what I've been looking for, but so much of the allure of Pokemon Stadium was not only that you could battle and go through this progression, play your friends, play the little mini-campaign the game had, but it was also that you could play mini-games. It kind of had this Mario Party sense to it, that, yeah, you could play battles with your friends, you could do all those things, but then you could also, get your Lickitungs and go slurp up some soup. You could throw Magikarp around and hit a target in the sky. You could dig with Sandshrew, right? You could do all these kind of quirky things that gave it more of a party game feel than just a pure battler. Now, what Pokemon Champions is doing so well is allowing you to cross over all the Pokemon that you own in these different games and throw them into battle. It would be amazing, however, if you could also feature these Pokemon in minigames. This is a huge thing that I think is left out of this game that would appeal to these fans like me, that I think this game is actually made for, who just want to be able to use their Pokemon in all kinds of different ways. Yes, we want to be able to battle with all of our Pokemon, but it would also be amazing to be able to feature your own Pokemon in minigames and just have a good time with them and your friends as well. So the lack of minigames or any other kind of previewed mode or party game mode is something that I think Pokemon Champions is missing. The second major point I want to talk about in kind of comparing and contrasting Pokemon Champions to Pokemon Stadium is the Pokemon roster pool. Now, I don't think there's going to be a complete Pokedex in Pokemon Champions. I think there are going to be Pokemon that you just can't use in this game, and that is going to be frustrating for players without a doubt. However, I actually don't think that's as big of a deal, especially for the Pokemon Stadium fan like me. Obviously, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 had very limited pools of Pokemon because they were pulling, in Pokemon Stadium's case, just from Gen 1. Pokemon Stadium 2 obviously had Gen 2 as well. And yeah, we're a lot farther down the franchise now. There are a lot more Pokemon available in the Pokemon games now. But I don't think that there's any pressure, at least for me, to want to play with every single one in this game. I think that would honestly, for a lot of fans, potentially be a little overwhelming. I think for the Pokemon Stadium fan, we're used to these kind of, call them almost like hero pool limitations, like Pokemon pool limitations of ones that we can use. So I don't think it's going to feel all that limiting. So, again, for those fans that are a bit worried about not being able to use one Pokemon or the other, yes, if there's one that you really want to use and you can't use it, that obviously is going to be frustrating. But I don't think that that is going to make or break Pokemon Champions, especially if you're coming to this game primarily as a Pokemon Stadium fan. The next point I want to make about Pokemon Champions, and this may actually be a concern I have with the game, is that there may not be a PvE mode in this game. I wonder what they're going to offer in terms of, are we going to be able to battle through a gym progression system? Are we going to be able to have generic opponents even that we battle our Pokemon against? Or are you going to have another friend that you're battling with? It gives me a bit of pause because I remember as a kid playing the Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2 games, and a lot of times just booting up random battles. It would, not necessarily caring what I was battling against, just that I wanted to hop into a battle with Pokemon and have fun. I really hope that in Pokemon Champions there is some feature like that, where you can just get your Pokemon, certain ones you may want to battle with, you've been looking forward to battling with, and that you're able to kind of walk through a series of battles, whether they're going to be a gym leader, an Elite Four situation, whatever that may be. I think that will give players who may not have a buddy to play with or a friend who also has the game the ability to still get value out of this game and enjoy playing with their Pokemon. If this feature is not included, I would honestly be really surprised. I have a feeling there will be some way to do this in Pokemon Champions. It just seems kind of ludicrous that there wouldn't be. But if there's not, again, I think that would raise major concerns for the kind of playability of this game. Even for me personally, I have friends that I have a feeling will own this game, but still, it doesn't mean I necessarily always want to just battle a friend in a game like this. Think about a game like Pokemon TCG Pocket. If that game only had, PvP multiplayer, at some point that could get a little old. That game does have some fun PvE content in it, at least to some degree, and so I think Pokemon Champions will have that as well, but it is something we're going to have to wait and see. And to kind of wrap this up, the final thing that I really, it's a wish list item for me for Pokemon Champions, is I just want some funny theatrics, some really hilarious narration and commentary and moves from Pokemon that are brought to life in a totally new way. With the battling changes that are coming in ZA, where you're kind of moving around and it's not the traditional turn-based battling, this is going to really represent that for the time being for Pokemon fans. I really feel like this is one of the most important moments for Pokemon moving forward. They're kind of having a huge deviation in how battling works, and they're trying to take it obviously in very different directions. But this is going to be their battler. This is something they have kind of marketed as, this is kind of, for them, a representation of Pokemon battling as the focus of a game. And so I think if they're going to do that, I just want it to be done, I guess, the right way. I guess that is my broader hope for this. Pokemon Stadium did this in a really great way with just having, again, funny animations, a narrator to kind of keep the game interesting. Just a lot of things that helped make that feel different than battling in Pokemon Red or Gold or Ruby or Sapphire or any of those early games at the time, right? I hope the same can be said for Pokemon Champions at the end of the day. I hope the battling is unique enough to... Obviously, it'll be unique enough to Pokemon Legends ZA because of the changes to battling, but I hope it just feels like a unique battling experience in the modern day. Maybe that's a better way to say what my true hope for this is that Pokemon Champions feels uniquely itself. It has elements to it that are a bit quirkier, a bit riskier. I think if it's able to do this, we will have a game that can stand the test of time for a very, very long time. Otherwise, I fear that what's keeping players from deviating away from this and just playing, let's say, Pokemon Showdown, where you can just create any Pokemon and hop into a generic pixel battle against your friend, right? This needs to present something different, a new angle. Obviously, the ability to play with your own Pokemon is very appealing, but we need to bring those Pokemon to life in Pokemon Champions. We need to be able to see them, do their hilarious move animations, and really come to an epic scale in these battles. If this game can achieve that, I think we will have a game, like I said, will be on the shelves for a long time and will be one that I personally will be playing for a very, very long time. All in all, though, I don't think Pokemon Champions is going to be a Pokemon Stadium clone. I don't think it's meant to be. But I think if it can scratch the itch that Pokemon Stadium fans have been missing, the hole in my heart that has not been patched since that game went away, I think if it can do at least something similar with its own twist in a modern-day presentation, I think we can have an amazing game. Obviously, we have a lot more to learn about Pokemon Champions. Very little details are out so far. But regardless of the product we do end up getting with Pokémon Champions, we can guarantee either way that we're going to be providing all of the best coverage here at Pokémon House for Pokémon Champions and all other new games coming out. We're a brand new channel in the Game Haus network, meaning that we also have written content over on thegamehaus.com covering sports, esports, gaming, a whole bunch of other stuff. We have a Civ dedicated channel about Civ 7 called Civ House, and now obviously we have Pokémon House here on this channel, which is why you are here today. So if you're looking for any of those things, we appreciate the likes and subscribes. We're starting a lot of brand new content up, so anything we can get as far as support goes really does go a long way for us. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and from our house to yours, we'll see you next time for more Pokemon news and updates.